Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. First of all, my thanks to Republic for allowing Maruti Suzuki to present our perspective on the Indian auto industry and also what we believe India has the potential for the future. So before I delve into the next decade, let me also point out that automotive industry is one of the most important industries for our country. Not just for manufacturing, automotive is almost half the manufacturing industry in our country, half of in manufacturing GDP, but also of the overall GDP, almost 8%. So when we started, you saw some visuals there. Indian auto industry was just about 50,000 cars a year. There was no localization. The quality was not so good. There were no exports. And of course, there was hardly any rural penetration. The contribution of automobile during those days was just 1% of GDP. But today, and I think we should all be proud of it, India is the number one in production in two-wheelers, number one in three-wheelers, number one in tractors, and number three in passenger vehicles. Last year, we overtook Japan as the number three manufacturer in the world. And about 4 years back, we had overtaken Germany. It was then at number 5. Today, I'm very proud to say that, in fact, this is the last month of the fiscal year, and we will be touching the all-time high in the industry of passenger vehicles at 4.2 million cars. That's, yeah. The target is, of course, to reach from 7.5% GDP to about 12%, as has been seen in the automotive policy paper. And also the manufacturing itself should go up from 15% to 25% of GDP. Of course, automotive industry is employing almost 30 million people directly and indirectly. We do 7 lakh of exports. And by the way, Maruti Suzuki is also the largest exporter of passenger vehicles in the country. Almost 40% of the exports of cars comes from Maruti Suzuki. I have a happy news, of course, and which is that this year we should also cross the 2 million mark as one company for the first time ever. Yeah. But what is tomorrow? Tomorrow, the auto industry is going to be even bigger. We talk about the next decade. Passenger vehicle industry in the next decade will be about, in 2030 actually, not 10 years from now, 6 years from now, will be 6 million cars. And that's a huge number. By the way, we will still be only at 32, penetration will be only 32 per 1,000 people, as against maybe 700 for the more developed countries. So the upside is really huge. To look at it another way, Maruti will be doing 4 million vehicles by 2030. And what took us 40 years to reach this 2 million mark, the next 2 million should come in 6 years. That is the big change that you see, not only in the industry, it is across industries in India. And that is what we should all be proud of for what has been done in our country. Component exports, also huge, almost 1.6 lakh crore. Component business is now almost 8 lakh crore. So why are we so confident about that 6 million? Why are we so confident India will be continue to be the third largest? Because of 3 reasons. One, we have very good manpower, skilled manpower, and that is something which the government has really pushed in the last few years, the upskilling and the reskilling of India. That should really help us going forward. Second is that in terms of technology, the digital, the industry 4.0 as they call, where digital is the base, in technology adoption as also in technology talent, India is the leading country in the world, whether it is terms of design or whether in terms of actually having such things as software for connected cars or software for autonomous cars. Nowadays, you may be knowing that earlier we used to call cars as wheels with data. Now we call cars as data with wheels. That is the extent of digitalization that has happened. And third is government policies. Of course, government policy has been really good when you look at manufacturing support from the government, PLI scheme, FAME for automotive. I think it's really good. And finally, I think the most important, a lot of investments coming in. The scale is huge. And that's because it's been driven by two things: the urbanization, which is now expected to be 41% by 2030 from the current 35% level, and the disposable income going up because the economy is doing so well. And they say that a lot of manufacturers, a lot of companies across the world, they are looking at what they call China plus one strategy. And China plus one mein jo one hai, that will be largely, India will have the largest component of that plus one. Yeah, but the thing to clap for is not that India will have the largest part of that plus one. I believe, Maruti Suzuki believes, that actually later on, people will be talking of India plus one. And that is what, and you have seen a lot of investments coming in. That's why we are so confident our industry will do well in the next decade. The Bharat that we are building, Maruti Suzuki has announced 2 new plants, one in Kharkhoda, investment of 20,000 crore, one in an EV plant, 20,000 crore again, and a 10,000 crore investment by Suzuki in battery and battery-related components. Hyundai has announced 20,000 crore, as also MG. I think we are moving towards global quality, and that means India will become a hub for even export of cars. And 2 things which we believe will drive is the sustainability and the safety, which is increasingly becoming the most important criteria for different aspects of business. So I think overall, you heard the Chief Minister of Assam speaking. I think we are looking at a new India, and I'm not talking in political context. I'm talking only from a pure manufacturing and a pure industry context. We talked about scale, we talked about skill, we talked about speed, but I think the most important thing, and I will end my talk with that, the most important thing we believe at Maruti Suzuki, that is actually propelling the growth in industry, and whether it is politics, whether it is manufacturing, whether it is whatever, it is this new India is being propelled by this great self-belief and the spirit that we have had. The spirit has actually multiplied, it has actually grown in the last few years, and I think there will be no more stopping for us. I just came from a seminar where one person was saying that going forward we have to maintain that spirit, and of course we should now hunt across the world in packs and not just as individuals, and that will be the new India of the next decade. Thank you.